shit. I don't know why. I think
Well, it's because we're always on, and so it's like, does Jay Leno remember things from like 2 years ago? No,
Probably not.
like when you got to come up with new material every night. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's not.
that's true.
Yeah, that's the truth of life, I guess, right?
Yeah, I remember people coming up to me like from high school and they're like, "Oh man, remember that funny thing you said?" It's like, nah, doesn't even sound that good compared to my new material. Just saying.
I'm working on a Type 5.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the Darker Side Podcast, where we delve into the darker side of our existences. The morbid, the macabre, the spooky, and the absurd are all fair game as we discuss murder, UFOs, cryptids, creepypasta, the paranormal, and the dark depravity of the human soul. I am David, and with me today is Herman. How are we, Herman?
I am lovely.
Lovely.
Lovely. It's a wonderful spring day in the New England winter.
And in 20 minutes, we get to start, drinking beer.
Yes.
Sweet. Also, today we have a guest presenter for a topic that we're going to be discussing today is we'll call him the other Herman.
How you doing? Glad to be here.
He does have his own name.
I was given it. Yes.
Yes, but do we want to divulge that information? Considering the topic we're talking about today.
On this one, sure.
All right, his name is Jason Herman.
No relation.
No relation. As you will soon most likely find out by the banter that probably will happen in this episode, that they are very much related.
We're nothing at all alike.
Nope.
No.
Awesome. Well, I'm very, very happy to have you here, Jason. I can't wait to get into the topic that we're going to discuss later. We'll keep it secret for the time being.
Secret topic.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
All right, we're going to jump right into our news stories today. And actually, before that, I'd like to say Happy fucking New Year. Sorry about the huge break in time, but with family and the holidays and work and everything else, we couldn't get any episodes together for you guys. But whatever, we all needed a break. We're human too. We are human. So it gave us a nice pleasant break, and we'll give you guys a new fresh year of episodes. And we're excited about it. I am, at least.
I managed to put 1,500 miles on my car over Christmas, going to visit the various family members.
Yeah, I mean...
That's why I didn't go.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't go. I didn't go anywhere either. I actually worked.
You know where I live. Come see me.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's the truth of life. All right, well, let's get into the news stories. Let's start with Herman's news story today.
Yes. I have not read this. It is from IFL Science. Have they gotten legitimate? Is that why they dropped the fucking part?
Yes, I mean I think there was a campaign based on that, but yeah, it is I fucking love science on all the social medias. They're a social media news group, and they did pretty much take the social media science news.
It's probably better for advertisers if they don't use the profanity.
Exactly.
Imagine 100%. They got to sell their My Pillows and whatnot.
I don't see My Pillow on here
and stuff like that.
Manscaped though, it's a grooming device with a being held by a woman.
Very nice.
That's
okay.
That's
it's a trimmer for a man's private bathing suit area.
Oh, nice. I've always wanted to. I have ample chest hair, as we all know, and I've always wanted to cut that into like a bikini and then just go out sunbathing. I think that would
like one of those old timey bathing suits.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
That's even cooler. So what do we got for?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Back to the matter at hand. AI, which is artificial intelligence. I don't believe you should abbreviate anything without explaining the abbreviation. AI, programmed to solve Zodiac Killer mystery, is doing something even creepier on the side. It's got a side piece.
Ooh.
The Zodiac Killer is one of the most notorious criminals of the 20th century. During his tenure, which started in the 1960s, he killed 5 Northern Californians and claims to have killed as many as 37. All the while, he sent cryptic messages to local media and police department explaining his motives and detailing clues to his identity using a cipher full of letters and abstract symbols known as the Z340.
AKA why he's called the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, because the Zodiac? Interesting. Though he, quote, hung up his boots, put his spurs away, nobody left to run with anymore.
Did he, though?
In the late 70s, his ID remains a mystery.
Doesn't he now reside in the Senate from Texas.
So Ted Cruz, right?
Yeah, from the peanut gallery.
For the record, and I'm quoting from the article. For the record, as hilarious as this theory may be, Cruz is way too young to be the killer.
And that's exactly what the killer would want you to think. He's just youthful.
He's good point.
Probably get a hold of the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he's drinking everybody's blood, stealing their souls.
True.
It's possible.
Bathory style, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, after decades of baffling detectives and amateur sleuths alike, a supercomputer is on the case, programmed by one Kevin Knight, if that is his real name, an expert in artificial intelligence, cryptography, and code breaking from the University of California's Information Science Institute. The machine is called Carmel.
Caramel.
Really?
Yes.
What, that's not a great. Does it stand for something?
It's all caps. It's an
Maybe he had a lot of late nights in there and was like, "That's my baby caramel."
Yeah.
salty. It's using the writings of the Zodiac Killer to decide the so far impenetrable cipher. It's already been used to work out the Copiel cipher, a handwritten manuscript from the 18th century in Germany, who were pretty good at ciphers, actually. There's a delightful movie about that. So the real hope is that we could soon know the true identity of the Zodiac Killer.
And have a sweet cipher to use.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. That's true. Don't let it fall in the hands of the Russians.
It's already in the hands of the Russians, John.
They already know.
But that's not all. You see, Carmel, the supercomputer detective, moonlights as a poet, as revealed in a new documentary on history.
Interesting.
You think they might be able to like speed this whole thing up if they didn't have it doing poetry on the side?
Shit. Here, take some of your information and make poetry.
What sort of poetry are we talking about?
Well, I will get right to it. So,
perfect.
so there is an online tool where you can give Carmel a topic, and it will write it will write poetry on it, which I believe will devolve into racism, as so often happens.
It is the internet, so yes.
Okay. But here's one where they plugged in a few science-related words from the IFL Science crew. They used life, chemistry, galaxy, and dinosaur. Here's the results.
I'm excited.
I'm quivering with anticipation. A little happy daughter Jennifer. The children die without a fear of dying. Never ever gonna live forever. On the wings of love and soul undying. Travel through marine biology. Feel the sounds of Compton scattering. I write a lyrics from a human body. Hear the sound of stress corrosion cracking. Float and glide across the Milky Way. A planet's on a galaxy formation, the words of Earth and nuclear decay, a world of peace beneath the constellation. Snap my fingers on a dinosaur, catch a bullet from a lower jaw, and when I hear the sounds of thunder roars, fear of being blinded by the claw.
Wow.
So it's like if Dr. Dre produced a track that was like Rush featuring Raw Doll.
Pretty much.
Yes.
That is actually the perfect description of that poem.
So Dave,
Holy shit.
Dave, we're gonna get you some lyrics for Frenemy out of this.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
think.
rad, I think.
I think we'll put in a few keywords. We'll get a word from each member of the band, and then we'll improve on the Carmel, if possible, Carmel's sage wisdom.
I said we just put caramel in there, see what it thinks about itself, see if it's self-aware.
Then it would be. Then it wouldn't be AI. It would be I. Or actually, it would be AI. It'd be actual intelligence as well.
It'd be the I and I. It'd start smoking
Ganja
weed,
man.
and growing dreadlocks.
It's still in. It could be.
When it hits its teenage
Exactly,
phase. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, bro.
Listens to nothing but Bob Marley, and what was that other band you used to jam out to?
OAR.
OAR. Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
The North remembers.
The North
The
remembers.
North remembers. We have a monster lurking around in the house. So if you hear some random thises and that's,
Yeah. It's Chupacabra.
yeah. Except that chupacabra cost me a lot of money.
Oh, hey, hang on.
All right, Herman. Well, that was an unbelievable news story that you gave us, and
I believe it.
we had a little technical, not really technical difficulties, more like almost 6-year-old difficulties. Break up that last piece there. But
If we can
again,
have technical difficulties because the members of the podcast got too drunk, then we can call your son technical difficulties.
it is a beautiful thing. He's not necessarily a technical difficulty. He's a bright light shining from the other world. I'm going to get into my news story here. This is from, let's see here, some WordPress thing. ABC News.
Yeah, some WordPress thing.
Exactly. So
Thank you,
AB,
WordPress.
the headline is Australian pig steals 18 beers from campers, gets drunk, and fights a cow.
That's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
So exactly.
Truly, are we so different?
A cat is a rat, is a dog, is a pig, is a boy.
Is
That's
exactly.
the mantra of PETA, I think, applied right here.
Yeah. So ABC News Network tells us a booze pilfering drunken feral pig has caused chaos by running amok at an Australian campsite and starting a fight with a cow. The belligerent porker went on a drunken bender after stealing and drinking 3 six-packs of beer that had been left out by the campers at the De Grey River campsite in Port Hedland, Australia.
It gets warm in Australia, right? I mean, do you think the beer was probably not at its prime?
No, but I'm pretty sure it was satiating for the pig. All right, back into the story. Sorry about that. In the series of events that followed, the animal went on to ransack rubbish bin bags to find some late-night snacks before starting a fight with an innocent eyewitness cow. Imagine just this cow going, whoa. What the fuck
He
is
just
going
came
on?
out of nowhere.
It was just, oh my God, I couldn't even deal with it. It was a horrible, horrible experience.
Did the pig try to mount the cow? That's the real question.
That is real. Think about how tasty their children would be.
Oh God! Following the boorish, oh my God,
Hilarious.
boorish rampage, the pig decided to swim out into the middle of the river before collapsing drunk under a tree and falling asleep.
We've all been there.
Yes,
I sort of love this pig. I really do.
too bad it's like a wild boar. He's like, this is like a wild feral pig. I mean, I'm probably not a boar. It could have been a giant male. Who knows? But
Well, you take your average standard run of the mill farm pig and throw it out in the woods, and its tusks get longer and they get hairier. It just happens.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, that's where you get like those southern boars that they hunt down in Texas and shit. Those are just wild pigs that became feral
Yeah.
and just bred like pigs.
And stuff's delicious too.
Delicious.
I bet it is. Let's see here. Ladies and gentlemen, every once in a while you come across a story that is so perfect, so splendid, so beyond compare that even world-class bloggers such as I cannot improve upon it. This, my friends, is one of those stories. Thank you and good night. It's a beautiful story.
Beautiful story.
It's right up there with the ramen noodle guy that set off all the fireworks in his apartment.
Burning his testicles in the
process.
because he was doing it naked.
Yeah, he was cooking ramen naked and blew up. We reported on that. It was important.
Yeah, it's one of those stories
To know.
It's important for our cultural history, I think.
I think so.
To tell the stories, yeah, these types of stories. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is just Mother Nature just mimicking humans. I mean, I don't think there's really. I mean, there's no. I mean, that's
I've
like, it's
definitely
nature
stolen
mimicking
a
nature.
six-pack from a camper, drank, and then fought a cow. Like I did 6 times at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or something similar.
Sure.
Most recently this morning, I believe.
Yeah. On my way here.
All right, guys. Well, that was our news stories for the day. We're gonna dive. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna dive deeper into the darker side of our segment. We're just gonna get right into it. Today's segment is going to be what I like to call conspiracy circle. Everything's a street around here.
Oh,
Yeah.
can it be Conspiracy Avenue or the cul-de-sac of conspiracy?
I usually do an alliteration with them.
The cul-de-sac
So-
of conspiracy.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So conspiracy, cul-de-sac, circle, same thing. Cul-de-sac and a circle are roughly the same thing, John.
That's true.
The rotary of conspiracy.
Yeah, it's usually a web of conspiracy, but we're gonna call it conspiracy circle.
Conspiracy junction.
Yeah. So to present this topic today, we've again, like we alluded to earlier, we have Jason Herman here, who is deeply entrenched in conspiracy, whether it be theory or actual fact, and he's going to drop some knowledge on us today.
Absolutely. So I know that we are. You guys are a podcast that covers the darker, depraved human condition. I think this fits kind of right in there.
Oh yeah, sure.
This is conspiracy fact. This was acknowledged by the President of the United States, actually, in the 90s with an official apology. So let's take a look at what he apologized for.
And who was that president?
That would be William Jefferson. B stands for something. Clinton.
B.
B.
Baller. William Jefferson Baller Clinton.
Yeah, the dress stainer himself. So this is the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male. I apologize for using that word, but that's the name of the study. I didn't name it. It was done in 1932 to 1972, which makes it the longest running medical study in the United States, which is awful.
Yeah,
Because it's also a secret medical study.
It's not secret now, but yes, it was secret at the time. It was secret to the people in it. So what they, long story short, 1932, they decided, by they I mean the U.S. Public Health Service, along with Tuskegee University, a historically black college, decided to do a study on the effects of syphilis in African American gentlemen. It was thought at the time that there were some differences between the races that caused diseases to present differently, and so they were researching that to see if there was how they could kind of fix that. But the way they went about it was by getting 400 sharecroppers, deliberately infecting them with syphilis and not telling them.
what's a sharecropper, Jason?
A sharecropper is, let's see what Wikipedia says about sharecropping.
Oh, I can look that up. You keep going.
What I think a sharecropper is they are...
It's essentially fiefdom. You work the land; it's someone else's land, and you get a share of the profits of the sale of the goods, as I understand it.
John actually has the definition.
I did. I took Jason's advice and looked it up on Wikipedia, which is a font of information. Sharecropping is a form of agriculture in which a landowner allows a tenant to use the land in return for
Fiefdom.
for a share of the
So
crops
it's
produced
fiefdom.
on their portion of land.
So yes,
Yes.
so we can.
Fiefdom was a good.
Yep. So we can conclude that these victims were
Would they be serfs?
they probably actually be serfs. Yeah. They were not wealthy landowners. They were in fact quite the opposite. So they were given this disease and not told under the guise of they were getting free medical care from the government.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So
I think the Native Americans also get some free health care.
hey, free blankets. Inquire within.
Exactly.
So this happened in Macon County, Alabama. There were 399 men. They decided to give them this disease and keep track of how it presented itself. Now, this is before penicillin is when it started. It later, when penicillin came out, it became a treatment for syphilis.
Not its initial.
It later on became the treatment, the official treatment. The doctors knew this, but let the syphilis present itself. It let them infect their wives. It let them infect their children.
Oh, jeez.
All just to keep track of this. They were never told. There was no informed consent.
Yeah, of course.
So they were literally just infected for no reason.
And this is in the 30s, 1932.
Started in 32. In 1947, penicillin was the standard, and they let it go through all the way into the 70s. The only reason it actually came to light is there was a Washington Post reporter, and she reported on this whole thing in the Washington Post. So it was just an expose, just a journalist.
And what year was that?
72.
Wow. So, at least
That's
it was
40 years.
given light in the 70s.
Yeah, but
What you're saying, but
people had died. They had infected their wives. They had children born with congenital syphilis, all just to keep track of this study.
and did it create generations of syphilitic people as well?
Yeah, yep. Their children ended up getting it. Their wives got it.
So when they went on to have their own children and things like that, did they pass on syphilis as well, or?
Well, so syphilis is bacterial. I think it's bacterial, but yeah, it must be because penicillin cures it. So it's curable.
Right.
So I imagine if with good medical care, proper medical care, the children born in modern hospitals would have been treated for congenital syphilis.
Yeah, but so if we're still looking at like the crop share population of kind of poor people,
Sure.
disenfranchised people to begin with,
Yep.
their most likely health care is either where they're living too, which would be these sharecropping
Well, they
areas.
thought they were receiving proper government health care.
Right.
And that their condition, when they came down with symptoms, they were told they had things like bad blood.
Of course. That's like such a like a Dark Ages type of thing. You've got bad blood.
You got ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine about it.
Yeah, do cocaine about it.
I don't need your leechcraft.
Yeah, right.
So syphilis, according to a dictionary, is a chronic bacterial disease that is contracted chiefly by infection during sexual intercourse or sexual intercourse with the government, but is also congenital infection. And for those of you who really like science, it is caused by the spirochete Treponema pallidum. Sorry, pallidum. and
right.
it's got 4 stages, and they all sound terrible.
Yeah,
Isn't,
the last one is insanity.
Yeah, like absolute insanity, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They call that neurosyphilis.
Yeah, because it eats your brain. So of all of the victims, 40 of the wives got infected, and 19 of the children were born with congenital syphilis out of the 399.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if there was a control group and if all 399 were infected, but that is
so that's a background story.
Did they?
that is the background story. They actually made a movie about it with Lawrence Fishburne.
The Tuskegee Airmen, right?
No, the Tuskegee Airmen's about an all-black World War II or World War One
Right.
fighter pilots.
Right. Great movie. You should
They
go
were
see that.
they were brave men who represented this country very well. So we honor their sacrifice. No, this was Miss Evers Boys. It was a movie about this whole experiment with Lawrence Fishburne in it.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne's character talks about penicillin and proper medical care because he joins the military. He's kind of the, at least from the scenes I've seen, was kind of the example of being of proper care. So that there's that, and Bill Clinton actually issued a full apology. I imagine there was also some money set aside for the families, and there was in 2009, Legacy Museum opened a bioethics center and honored the people as part of the study.
So this being a conspiracy, this was a conspiracy for quite some time.
Yes.
Like, and it was what they would consider, like we were talking about earlier, a conspiracy theory.
Sure.
Eventually the theory dropped. It was a conspiracy that actually
Yeah.
happened to these
Yeah.
these poor disenfranchised people. And,
Yeah,
then
and once again, they were not informed they were part of a study. They had never signed up for this. They didn't know. They didn't know they had syphilis.
And this isn't the government's, our government's, if we're going to talk specifically, is first time doing this to a population of people. And it wasn't the last.
No, there's definitely been a number of government studies, including during this time frame where there were some other things tested on other populations as well.
Like in open air cities, just
Yep.
dumping chemicals into the city
Yep.
and into their water systems.
Yep.
Yeah.
Into the food.
Which we might get you back for.
Yeah, which we should definitely get you back for. Some more information. Those
Absolutely.
are other conspiratorial
Yep. So
diving deepers.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot to unwrap with these. I'd love to come back and kind of talk about some of the other times that the government has offered the wonderful benefits of free healthcare, and only to have it be a guise for something else. And I think that that's really where the kind of the moral of this story comes. When I see people talking about some of the conspiracies, the more modern ones, especially the anti-vaccination crowd. Things like this are where their distrust comes from.
Right.
And I don't know that distrust is misplaced. It's very hard for someone. There was recently a news story in one of the prisons in Massachusetts. They're giving all of the inmates in this male prison had the hepatitis vaccine, and they said it's preventative. It's not for any specific reason. There's going to be a level of distrust about that because of things like this. Is it benevolent? Could be.
I distrusted it as soon as you said the words.
That's why it's probably why it made news and wasn't just a routine we give people shots sometimes.
right.
What I'm really interested in, though, is kind of like how it was kept secret for so long, and like why did this woman at this time decide? I mean, obviously the moral thing was to tell this story so that people could actually realize what the government is capable of. And like, was she quieted? Was she? Do you know any more about that at all? Or
I didn't as much look into her background.
yeah, well, I mean, it's not necessarily, but I'm pretty sure they probably tried to, or somebody tried to stifle her, because I mean, this is some big news. This is huge news.
Look at the Washington Post in the 1970s. You said 1972.
I
Washington
believe it was
Post?
1972.
Yeah, so if you look at the Washington Post in 1970, they exposed the Pentagon Papers, which no other news outlet would support.
Tricky dick.
Correct, yeah. They shortly after the Pentagon Papers was Watergate and this. I mean, that's a holy trinity of fantastic news reporting.
Within an 8-year period, honestly.
Yeah, in the 1970s, we had an actual fourth state, and I think that's
It's a big deal.
pretty great.
So a lot of people but a lot of people listened to it, heard about it, and then quickly, like what we do with these truths that come out, swipe them under the table and just move on to the next thing. But cover up
we need
distrust.
We need to look and see what's going on now. If we take a look at the records on mental health, the mental health numbers, there's always been certain minorities that didn't get as much mental health because of a distrust of doctors. This kind of shows that that distrust was not misplaced.
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and like especially one called "The Hilarious World of Depression," and and it's a great show, guys. It really brings open a lot of light, and they do a lot of good work for depressive people and letting people understand.
We should
depression.
link to that when this drops.
Yeah. So, but what I've learned about that is there is a huge swath of the African American peoples who mistrust. They deal with their depression. They deal with their problems because they don't trust doctors.
Can't
And
imagine
it's a
why.
sign of weakness as well. And it's a sign of weakness too.
Sure.
But I think it's built into their culture now. Like the mistrust of and this is an absolute reason why you would want to mistrust a group of
I can't say that mistrust of the government is at all misplaced.
right.
Because of things like this. And I think that that's something that we need to acknowledge. And when it comes to discussing mental health, know that there are people who have these cultural barriers to getting mental health that go back for good reason. And that's kind of part of a very open conversation. And that's why you'll see higher levels of things like addiction among certain populations. And it's not because of something inherently wrong. It's because they've been wronged.
Right, and they're also trying to cover up those wrongs by feeling. I mean, who doesn't want to not feel feelings?
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, that's what most addicts do is they don't want to feel the feelings.
Hey, I'm from Worcester County, Massachusetts. That's
Yeah.
the not feeling feelings part of Massachusetts.
Yeah, true. As we're working on our feelings right now, John.
Yes, sir.
Herman and I.
Here's to feeling good all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess this opens up a bigger thing of the conspiracy type topics in general. So I mean, we can just discuss a little bit like conspiracies and conspiracy theories. A lot of these theories may have some truths to begin with, and
They're nuts till they're true.
Right.
They're guilty till proven innocent.
and then when we do find out about these conspiratorial truths, we're like, oh, we were always right, and then we move on to the next conspiracy. Like I think it is a culture that's what we do. Like this what's the name of it?
Tuskegee.
Tuskegee thing is now a truth, so people don't
Yeah.
necessarily talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a disservice to those types of people, the people who had to go through this.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate, and I mean, I guess Bill Clinton did the big man thing at the time and apologized to him.
Sure.
But I mean, what? How many years late?
Yeah, I was gonna say it came out in the 70s, so there was that means that H.W. Bush didn't say anything about it. Reagan didn't
20
say anything
years of
about
not
it.
saying
Carter
anything.
didn't say anything about it. And
20
Nixon
years of not
certainly
saying
didn't.
about it. But again, it opens the door here for even more conspiracies. How many more truthful things are there really going on in our country
Sure.
that are conspiracy, quote unquote, theories?
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Jason. Thank you so much for coming down today to open up that box of conspiracy for us, and we actually look forward to you coming back.
We actually do.
We actually do.
we actually
yeah.
do.
We were gonna say it, but it wasn't gonna be true. But it
Right.
turned out.
But
yeah.
no,
actually
but we
true.
really do this time.
So
good.
we're excited to have you back, and we can't wait for some more conspiracy circle, or whatever you want to call it, Herman.
The cul-de-sac of
Well, you guys can
conspiracy.
throw my ass in the
coldest-
circle any day.
Exactly, a little circle joke.
We're going to take
there.
a stroll down conspiracy court.
Control down Conspiracy Boulevard.
Yeah. So we've got some more diving deeper topics later on coming out in the air, and Jason will definitely be a part of those because he'll actually be bringing it to us.
Yeah, some facts, some theory, and some otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to the otherwise.
The otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on who your sponsors are, because it may tickle some people's fancy, may not.
Yeah, who cares?
Some people's fancy doesn't like
if they
to be
don't want
tickled.
to if they don't want to sponsor the podcast, that's fine.
I don't see us selling Kraft mac and cheese anytime soon.
Yeah.
It is delicious.
What about the wonderful products from MyPillow.com?
Oh, my pillow is a nice pillow. It beats sand.
Yeah, or rocks.
Or rocks.
Before my pillow, I used to sleep on rocks, and now, boom, got a my pillow, sleep like an angel.
He sleeps right through the night. He's so cute.
But
Yeah.
we got good rocks in this country, apparently.
Yeah, we have the president said we have the best rocks. Everyone knows that.
Good for them. Good for us. I'm glad we have the best rocks.
The best rocks.
What if we built the border wall out of my pillows?
Could work, John.
They'd stop for siesta halfway through and never make it.
It's
Perfect.
a plan. We figured it out.
Okay.
No,
My pillows come support
I
us.
say we
please.
take Panama back. It's like decoy America.
I like that.
Then they'll just go south. Problem solved. You're welcome.
Here's some conspiracies that we're building now.
Yeah, let's make Guam great again.
Make Guam great. Guam isn't even a state. You know, you know,
they should be. Guam, Puerto Rico.
You know, if you're
and-
born in Guam, is one of the only places in the United States that if you're born there, you don't get birthright citizenship. You're actually a U.S. national.
This
That's
is
strange.
what happens when you get a couple of Hermans in the room.
Hey,
off.
that's just a fact.
You go off track.
Just saying. Oh my God, you should see a family reunion.
Oh no, I'm actually an honorary member, and Rachel can't handle it sometimes when I go off track.
How many honorary Hermans are there? Just the two?
This, I don't know. If you're an honorary Herman, write in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
if,
I think,
if you've been given honorary Hermanship, please write in. Our rosters were lost in a house fire.
Yep.
We,
So
we got Beth and Dave, certainly.
The Beth and Dave, I think that's
What
it.
about Zach? What about Z-Man?
Oh, Zach might be there.
yeah, I think he's the third of us. I think there's the Holy Trinity.
The mic picked that up fantastic. Thank you, John.
All right,
Thank you for
guys,
sharing that.
we're gonna end the podcast now. This has
On that brown
been
note.
this has been the darker note, the Darker Side podcast for today in the month of January. Happy New Year to all our Darker Siders, and I can't wait to give you some more Darker Side knowledge in the future. I am David, and this has been, again, the Darker Side podcast. You can find me on all the social medias. What I actually would want to do at this point also is to, guys, please rate and review us on all the major sites, iTunes, Google. Those are the big ones. John,
Yeah, and if you hate
your
us-
brown note is literally filling all of my sentences right now, and I'm not sure how I can handle this.
It is the essence of freedom.
You've had nothing but coffee and beer.
Yes.
So, but again, please rate and review the Darker Side podcast. We need it. We do have a Patreon. Please subscribe to that. We're going to add some more content this year. Give us $1 a month, honestly, please. We're not begging, but it really would help us out. It'll help us get to where we want to be and where we can actually record all the time and everything. So, guys, please give us that help. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow our other two podcasts, Getting Lost in the Forest. Forrest has his own podcast. He wasn't able to be here today, and he obviously will be here in the future, but give us some time.
He's got to work, so see that Patreon thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I've just started a new podcast. Getting it off the ground. I'm working on some early episodes right now. It's called the Ready Lover 1420 Canicast. It's a cannabis podcast where I give you news, upcoming things in the future and history of cannabis, and also I will be doing a strain review most episodes. So stay tuned. You can find that on Anchor, and I will be getting that out to all the major sites at this point. But yeah, again, thank you so much for getting to the Dark Side podcast. I'm Dave. Herman, what do you got for us today, buddy?
Yeah, guys, I'm loving the Instagram love. So please find me on Instagram. It's Herman HERRMANN, and Brau, the German word for brew. Actually, I used to say beer, but that was always wrong because I don't speak German. But yeah, Herman Brau at Instagram. Hit me up. Send me the pictures of your dogs and your cats. Keep that stuff coming. That's so much fun. Love you guys. You're the best. Jason?
Thank you guys for having me, and look forward to be back next time.
He doesn't believe in social media.
Yeah, social media, you won't find him. You won't find him at all.
Find
Try
him
it.
nowhere.
Try it. I mean, you might find him somewhere, but
I had a Gab, but
yeah, but that went south. That
yeah.
went alt right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, geez.
My
shift
name
right.
my name on Gab was Alt Things Considered.
alt things considered, of course. Well, yeah, if you
With
want
Nazi Totenberg?
Yeah, just whisper into the microphone about
Oh, good
alt right,
Lord.
alt left, just anything alternative, alternators, whatever it is, whatever comes up.
Oh,
alternators.
sure.
So, thank you for getting deep conspiracy-wise with us. It wasn't a theory; it's an actual truth, and we'll bring some more
And
conspiracy truths.
that happened. Like the
That
president
happened.
talked about it,
Yeah.
so maybe it didn't happen.
Maybe it didn't.
Maybe they want you to think it happened.
Oh, shit. Don't gaslight us.
Oh God.
Don't gaslight us. Thank you guys for coming to the Darker Side podcast.
He does this every time.
Why doesn't he just record it once and then play it again?
I don't know.
Thanks.
Love you, bastards.